Well, good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson. Welcome to our daily live segment, More with Moeller, where we take a deeper dive into weather across not only the U.S., but sometimes across the globe. Now, of course, I'm not Craig Moeller. He's off again today, enjoying some vacation time. So I'm going to be the one guiding you into what to expect across the U.S. for today. A lot going on weather-wise. And then for our friends in Hampton Roads, we'll take a deeper dive into our local weather and how this really strong cold front will impact us over the next couple of days. So these are the topics we're going to get into for today. It's a wide range of topics. First one, wildfires are scorching the U.S. from west coast to east coast and everything in between. We've seen so much in the way of drought that these really dry conditions are helping to fuel these wildfires we are seeing across the U.S. Number two, the complete opposite. We're going to talk snow today. Some places getting some snow across the Pacific Northwest, even some snow forecasted for the Appalachian Mountains as we get into the end of the work week. So something to keep in mind is that we're going from one opposite to the other, hot to cold, and then Hampton Roads doing the same thing. Warm today, getting very cold as we end the week. We're going to talk more about a strong cold front to impact parts of the area as we get into the next couple of days. So first up, we are talking wildfires scorching the U.S. Right now, this is our active wildfires across the U.S. Anywhere from Portland, Oregon, all the way into Billings, Montana. So we're going to show you section by section what we're seeing. So right now, as you get into Portland, just outside of there at the Oregon and Washington border, we're seeing a couple of wildfires there. Getting into Idaho and Montana, many wildfires, especially the further north you get closer to that Canada border. Even getting into Wyoming and parts of Colorado, seeing some wildfires as well. That's what I'm saying. These wildfires, they span from one coast to the other. It's no specific place seeing all the wildfires at this point. Getting into Oklahoma and Texas, many wildfires, especially as you get closer to the Houston metro area and parts of East Texas. So some scattered wildfires across the state of Louisiana and the deep south. We're seeing some in Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, one in southeastern Georgia. Now in the East Coast, here in the Mid-Atlantic where we're based, 13 News Now is based in Norfolk, Virginia, we're actually not seeing any active wildfires at the moment. There are a couple wildfires as you get into the Northeast, but they're very few and far between. One near the Maine-Canada border, one just outside of Boston, and then another one in the extreme southwestern parts of Massachusetts. So across the area, active wildfires everywhere. They even spread into Mexico and into Canada. Now, how do we even get these wildfires? Well, first, let's talk about the basics, how wildfires happen. So with the wildfire, you need certain ingredients. You need dry vegetation, which usually is going to be in the form of those dry grasses or even some dry plants that just cannot contain that moisture. Low humidity also has to be in place for that as well. And then you need some winds to kind of stir up that fire. That's the three ingredients for wildfires. So for a fire, you need, of course, anyone we would know when we talk about fires and even how to put out fires, and not just wildfires, but in fires within homes and buildings. These three things fuel these things. That's why you have to eliminate one of them so that fires go out. So a heat source is what you need for a fire, fuel and oxygen. And any brush or dry grass and trees are excellent fuel for these fires. That goes back to that dry vegetation. If you get even dry thunderstorms, a lot of times that happens in California, you get that little bit of a spark, and when you get those winds, they start to really spread that fire. So when the winds fan the flames, those embers spread, and that's how you get those wildfires that can burn acres and acres across the area. Now, if what you need to do in the case of a wildfire, remember, you need to prepare to evacuate, especially in those wildfires that are not contained. There are also wildfires that are intentionally set by the government to help the ecosystem. We're not talking about those. We're talking about wildfires that are sparked naturally, or again, in the case of arson, when people throw out their cigarettes and they throw it on dry vegetation, that can happen as well. Also, you need to listen to emergency channels and know the status of the fire. How big is the fire? Is the fire out of control? How much is contained in that? But make sure you have the emergency supply kit. The same way we have with tornadoes and hurricanes, you need the same thing. So if you're an area is impacted by wildfires, you need to have your medication, your food, your water supplies, also any necessary documents like your birth certificate or licenses, just so you can have that identification just in case you do have to evacuate and stay away from the area for a while. Now, the dangerous weather for wildfires is on both coasts. Wildfires are burning in the Northeast as red flag warnings persist across the drought-stricken region, and life-threatening rain and flooding are set to hit the West Coast as well. We are watching that bomb cyclone. ABC's Trevor Alt has the latest.
This morning, those extreme drought conditions continue to choke the Northeast. Overnight, another brush fire breaking out in New York City. Firefighters rushing to douse the flames in Upper Manhattan.
They've got about 10 acres burning at this point. It is a second alarm blaze that they are trying to get under control.
The mayor declaring a drought warning for the first time in 20 years.
The reality is that we need rain, not only here in the city, but up near our reservoirs.
In Massachusetts, gusting winds fanning this brush fire outside Boston.
The elevation, yeah, it's an extreme challenge. First, fatigue for the firefighters to drag the hose up, and then just, pumping the water up the hill is a challenge.
Since October, Massachusetts has had more than 600 wildfires, charred nearly 2,000 acres. That's an entire year's worth of fire damage in less than 2 months. And in this drought, New Jersey's Wanacue Reservoir is at just 44% capacity. Water level 16 feet lower than they were this time last year.
Now, some rain is finally expected soon, but even that could potentially bring a new set of problems as New York City officials are now activating plans for possible flash flooding. Trevor Alt, ABC News, New York.
And Trevor's completely right. If you have very dry grounds and you add water on top of that, that could lead to some potential flash flooding. So that's something we'll keep an eye out for too. But of course, with wildfires comes wildfire smoke. Now, the good news is when I've been looking at these models, it doesn't show much when it comes to significant wildfire smoke. But let's take it region by region. And where we were just talking about New York up into the Northeast, there will be some wildfire smoke in the area, very low in its density, but anywhere from Bridgeport all the way down into the heart of New York City, you will have a little bit of smoke in the area today. Oklahoma City, Dallas, Houston, you'll have some low-end wildfire smoke as well for your Wednesday night. Albuquerque, New Mexico as well, you'll have that low end. Now, some higher-end smoke is down in Las Vegas, so that could lead to some difficulty breathing. Also, for those who have asthma problems or difficulty with breathing as in any health issues, this may be one of those situations where you wear a mask when you go outside for more sensitive groups. But it's going to be Las Vegas where that bullseye is for some very thick smoke this afternoon and evening going into early Thursday morning. And a few areas to the north of that also seeing some light smoke as well. Tampa, just to the south of you, a little bit of light smoke as you get closer to Fort Myers. But that's about it for the U.S. So that bullseye again right near Las Vegas as we get into early tomorrow morning. That's the big picture for our wildfire smoke across the area. Now, here in the Mid-Atlantic, what are our wildfire risks? Well, it looks very low for right now, even though we are in a severe drought in places like the south side of Hampton Roads into the peninsulas. Area-wide through the majority of Virginia, we're in either abnormally dry, moderate, or severe drought conditions. But even with that, we are talking minimal impacts or very low impacts for fire danger across the area, anywhere from Norfolk out to Roanoke, Raleigh, New Bern, Charlotte, Bristol, Knoxville, a little bit on the light to moderate side, but still for places like Knoxville and Lexington, you guys are still on that lower end. So the good news is we're not seeing any wildfires in this area of the country right now anyways, but at least we are not going to expect that over the next couple of days. But we are keeping our thoughts for those who are experiencing those wildfires, again, burning across the U.S. We're going to take a very sharp turn, though, into some different news. We are talking about letting it snow across the area. We have snow in the forecast from the Pacific Northwest all the way into parts of the Appalachians. It's possible as we get into the late parts of the week. Here's our big picture. This is what we're looking at from our satellite and radar, and it shows, if we can take that graphic full, showing that we are seeing some of that light snow starting to really build into some heavier snow along a bomb cyclone that is developing just to the Pacific Northwest. Right now, as you get into Portland, Seattle, Vancouver, we are seeing some of that light snow, even getting down into portions of Northern California, some wet snow mixed in with some mixed precipitation, even seeing some of that maybe ice and heavy rainfall, a part of this huge swirl. This is a bomb cyclone that meteorologist Evan Stewart talked about yesterday. And with this bomb cyclone, this is what it is. What is bombogenesis? Well, that's what we're associating with the formation of a very strong low pressure system that we would consider a bomb cyclone. You have the cold air to the north getting wrapped around that center of low pressure, and the largest temperature gradients, they lead to the rapid intensification. It's also a lot of times mixed in with very warm ocean waters, especially in places like the Northeast, and with bomb cyclones in the Northeast specifically, that's when we usually typically see those strong nor'easters. Now, there's a specific criteria for a bomb cyclone defined as a center low pressure dropping 24 millibars over 24 hours. Now, this can happen at any time, but it's most likely from the middle to late fall into parts of very early spring, so October through March, and can result in super heavy rainfall or even really heavy snow and precipitation, and can see wind gusts getting into tropical storm force wind gusts, and even getting close to hurricane force wind gusts of around 70 miles per hour. So very strong stuff coming with bomb cyclones, but that's what we're seeing out in the Northeast. But going back to our big picture and taking this graphic full, you'll see that we are tracking some snow now also through Winnipeg up into Canada, all the way down into Bismarck, North Dakota, light to wet, heavy snow across there. Minneapolis also seeing some snow as well. Not so much here across Hampton Roads in northeastern North Carolina, but we could see snow across parts of the Appalachians if we do get that cold front bringing in that really cold air very soon. So something to look forward to across the area for parts of our friends in Western Virginia, even into West Virginia. We could see some of that heavier snow possible. So that's something to look forward to if you, one, live out there, or two, want to go visit for the weekend just to get a little taste of winter. But I will say our taste for winter is on the horizon for us here across Hampton Roads, and it comes in the form of a cold front. Now, before we get to our next topic, meteorologist Hunter Forrest breaks down the different types of precipitation and how they come to be.
As we dive into the cooler months, there's always that chance we could see either rain, snow, sleet, or even freezing rain as the days start to get colder. Now, within the atmosphere, there are layers of different air temperatures, which is what can determine what type of precipitation you're going to see. In most areas, precipitation starts as snow way up in the atmosphere, and when there's a large layer of warm air that reaches from the cloud all the way down to the surface, it falls as rain. But freezing rain is a little bit more complex. It starts as rain and falls through a column of warm air, but as it falls, it passes a layer of cold air just above the ground. This causes the raindrops to become cooled very rapidly, and when it hits surfaces like roads or trees, they freeze on contact, creating a layer of ice. Now, sleet forms when raindrops fall through a larger layer of freezing air, allowing the rain to refreeze into small ice pellets before reaching the ground. But for snow, there can't be any warm layers of air throughout the column. It has to be below freezing from the clouds all the way down to the ground. Now, if you're team snow for this upcoming winter, you should hope for below freezing layers throughout the atmosphere. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Hunter Forrest.
And Hunter is exactly right. If you want to see that snow, you have to have the entire atmosphere at 32 degrees or below. And so for Team Snow here in Hampton Roads, unfortunately, we will be too warm for that, even though temperatures will dive into the upper 30s for morning lows as we round out the work week. It's all a part of a cold front, and that's to bring some rain and cold temperatures to the mid-Atlantic, including northeastern North Carolina and Hampton Roads as we get into the next few hours. That cold front is on the horizon. Here's our live look from downtown Norfolk, and as you see, we are sitting pretty calm for right now. We had a few morning showers, but overcast skies at this point. Temperatures across the area right now in the upper 50s to middle 60s. Now, give you some perspective for this time of year across the mid-Atlantic, we should be somewhere in the lower 60s for high temperatures. So we're already beating that at 10:47 this morning. So that just goes to show you we have a lot of warm air in the picture now. Here's our satellite and radar up close and personal. And as you see, we're seeing increased cloud cover, but also watching for an area of some rain that is building in places like Raleigh. Some of that even packing some moderate rainfall at the moment. So we could see some of that rainfall moving into places like Ahoskie, Eatonton, Elizabeth City, the Outer Banks. You can see this rain if it stays together, which most likely it will. Now, for everyone else, we are just talking some isolated showers possible throughout the afternoon. Temperatures today climbing into the upper 60s to lower 70s. Again, this is going to be about 5 to 10 degrees above normal for this time of year, but don't get too locked in with these temperatures because we say goodbye to the upper 60s for at least the next 3 days, and it's because of this cold front that will move through. Cold front's not here yet, but it will come later tonight. Isolated showers still in the picture with those south winds. Temperatures around 8 p.m. still in the middle 60s. Here's that cold front. This is around 11 p.m. to midnight tonight. Around that cold front, we could see some more scattered showers, even the opportunity for a rumble of thunder or two. We haven't seen or lightning or heard thunder in a very long time here in Hampton Roads. Remember, we're a part of that drought as well, even though we don't have wildfires in the picture. Temperatures still in the upper 50s to middle 60s right around that time as well. So warm overnight before we're not. The cold front moves out to sea by 2 a.m. We may have a lingering shower in the picture before 2 a.m. right around the coastline, but inland will dry out from west to east. So inland places will be the first people to see some clearing skies, but these skies will clear rapidly. By 8 a.m. we are talking clear skies, but temperatures in the morning as you're stepping out the door will be in the lower to middle 40s. Add on that wind gust of 25 to 30 miles per hour, feeling more like the middle to upper 30s as you step out the door. It's one of those days where you're going to have to bundle up because we really won't rebound very well during the afternoon. While we will be above average this afternoon, heading into tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be about 5 to 10 degrees below normal. So going from one extreme to the other when it comes to our temperatures. But over the past 18 hours, we picked up maybe a 1/10 of an inch of rain, not really any significant amounts, but any rain we can squeeze out with this front that moves through late tonight will be super beneficial. Right now, the models are projecting that we could pick up anywhere from 1/2 inch, maybe an isolated inch of rain, and some places with some heavier downpours that may be possible, especially later today, or with that bulk of rain I just showed you near Raleigh that's going to move through northeastern North Carolina. If that moderate rain still holds together as it moves through our area, again, 1/2 inch to an inch of rain could be possible, but it's looking like the lower side of things, 0 to 1/2 inch. But any rain we're grateful for here across Hampton Roads because, again, we are in that drought. This drought that's sparking the wildfire conditions across the U.S. So right now, here's the updated drought monitor. The new one comes out on Thursday. So we have another day until we get this newest update. I would not be surprised if some of the severe droughts spreads across the area. Severe drought is going to be in that orange color. So anywhere from Virginia Beach to Norfolk, Chesapeake, you are now in that severe drought conditions. It's also including places like Hampton and Newport News as well, and continued severe drought for the eastern shore into the northern neck and parts of the middle peninsula. If you're not in one of those areas I just mentioned, well, just hang on. You're also in a moderate drought, if not in that extreme drought. So everybody could really use some rain at this point. Now, taking it to the big picture, what happens after the front? So we get the rain along the front tonight, so maybe a couple of thunderstorms, but it's that really cold air that will maybe send a little shock to your body as you step out the door and go throughout the day tomorrow. So tomorrow we are talking temperatures starting off in the lower 40s. This blue number though, that is the wind chill. So we could see wind chills as low as the middle 30s as you're getting ready for work or taking those kids to school in the morning. Unfortunately, because wind gusts will still be up to about 25 to 35 miles per hour, we will only feel like the upper 40s to lower 50s throughout the day, even though our high temperature will be somewhere around 55 degrees. Still, without the wind chill, it still will be a cool day. Again, our normal high temperature is around 61 degrees, so you will need to bundle up tomorrow, given the fact that not only will we have cold air, you're pairing that with really strong wind gusts. And because of those strong wind gusts, that we have been placed underneath a gale warning starting tonight for both the Bay and the Atlantic. In the Chesapeake Bay, we're going to see winds tonight switching from south to northwest, that northwest wind pulling in that cooler, drier air. Winds 25 to 30 knots sustained, gusts as high as 45. So if you are planning to be out on the waters tonight or through the day tomorrow, I would say probably hold off. Those seas and those waves will be super choppy. Waves in the Bay tonight into tomorrow up to 4 to 5 feet. For the Atlantic tonight, we are talking the same thing when it comes to winds. A south to northwest shift. Temperatures in the ocean in the 60s with winds 25 to 30 knots sustained, gusts up to 45 knots. Again, a gale warning in effect for the Atlantic as well as we get into tonight. Not in effect now, it's going to be in effect for this evening. Seas this evening also up to 5 to 8 feet again for us today. So high tide around 11:27, so in the next 30 minutes, but low tide tonight is around 6:06, even some places getting in there later. So what can we see getting into Friday? Remember, this cold front's not impacting us today and tomorrow, but it also lingers into Friday as well. And unfortunately, we are talking sub-freezing wind chills. Remember I told you on the cast I did with Craig, I am from the south, so anything below about 50 degrees is not my cup of tea, but we're talking sub-freezing wind chills on Friday. So what does that mean? Well, that means that it will go from feeling more like the middle to upper 30s and lower 40s. Let's take this graphic full so they can see the big picture. Thank you so much. We're seeing those wind chills 35 to 40 degrees. Dropping down, that's Thursday morning, dropping down on Friday morning to the middle 20s. For freezing wind chill temperatures. I mean, it's really cold. Even places like Virginia Beach, feeling more like 25 by Friday morning. And that's when most of us are getting ready to go out the door, taking these kids to school, heading to work. So you will need to bundle up. I'm talking layers, gloves, hats, scarves. All of that will be needed on Friday morning. And Friday will be even colder than Thursday, with temperatures at best in those lower 50s. So across the area, we are going to have a very chilly end to the week, some weather whiplash. Now, I will say there is a wives' tale that goes, if you step outside and the weather changes erratically, big changes in temperatures can make you sick. I'm here to tell you that's only partially true. It's really the exposure to this cold air that can make you sick, not going from 70 degrees today to 52 degrees on Friday afternoon, or even 70 degrees today to 37 for actual high temperatures low temperatures on Friday morning. It's going to be that exposure to cold air. So when you are outside, if it's too dry, too cold, the cold can suppress your immune system. The dry weather can actually restrict your blood vessels. So that's why you may experience more nosebleeds, or your asthma may be triggered during those times. But it's not going to be this big jump in temperatures, more this exposure to cold air. That's why when we have these cold temperatures, we try to open up, or the city at least tries to open up warming shelters so that our most vulnerable people at least have access to some heat during these cold times. But still very breezy on Friday as well. That's why we have those wind chills. We can still see wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour across the area during the day on Friday, even continuing into Saturday as well, where wind gusts could be as high as 30 miles per hour again. So even though we should be somewhere in the upper 50s, lower 60s for the weekend, it will feel much cooler on Saturday than it will for Sunday, just because we have that added wind gust on. Sometimes those wind gusts can also come not only from cold fronts, but when you switch from low to high pressure, if you're squeezed in between the two, then you can get some pretty strong gusts in that middle section. So Saturday will still be cool and breezy, highs in the upper 50s. We'll still be in the upper 50s, low 60s for Sunday, with sunshine on both days, but Sunday feeling much better. Now, what I like about this 10-day forecast is that it includes the entire week now of Thanksgiving, anywhere from, again, Sunday through Saturday, including Thursday, which is Thanksgiving, and Friday, which is Black Friday. So this model shows that we should do another roller coaster of temperatures. So if you enjoyed the upper 60s that we've had since Monday, they'll actually possibly be coming back by Monday into Tuesday. But it looks like we'll have another very strong front pushing through the area. Hopefully we can squeeze out a couple of showers when that front comes through. But look at this huge drop in temperatures between Tuesday and Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. Temperatures dropping anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees with this model projection. Now, again, the further you go out into a 7-day forecast, the less accurate it gets. So could these numbers change? Absolutely. I've watched this graphic for the past couple of days, and the numbers have changed. Even over the course of a couple of hours, we'll see a new number. But right now, from this projection around 11 a.m. from this particular model, it says that Thanksgiving may be a chilly one with temperatures at best in the lower 50s. Same with Black Friday. So only imagine if you're going Black Friday shopping on early Friday morning and temperatures are in the 30s when you wake up and walk out the door. You'll need to bundle up for sure if these projections hold. So a lot to really keep in mind when we talk about Thanksgiving. But the good news is for us here in Hampton Roads, while we will not include the Thanksgiving forecast in my forecast today, our evening team will. So you'll finally get your first look at our 7-day forecast, including Thanksgiving. But over the next 5 to 7 days, temperatures again in the upper 60s, lower 70s today. We'll have scattered showers rolling through later tonight into the morning on Thursday. Could produce some moderate rainfall or some thunder at times, but by Friday, dropping off into the lower to middle 50s again. Remember, even though we're going to be in the upper 30s on Friday morning, feeling more like the middle 20s with wind gusts as high as 35 miles per hour. Continuing with the upper 50s to lower 60s for Saturday and Sunday, but Saturday will feel cooler than Sunday because we will still have those breezes up to about 25 to 30 miles per hour. And early next week, rebounding back a few degrees above normal in those middle 60s, but sunshine will continue. Now, you can find me on social media at Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok even. If you want to learn more about me or about the weather, I will go a little bit more in depth, especially on my Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It's a little bit more lighthearted, but you get to know definitely a different side of me. Meteorologist Taylor Stephenson on Facebook. On Instagram, I am at TDSTARZ. On TikTok, the same thing, TD Stars. On TikTok, we're talking travel. On Facebook, we are talking big weather. Now, this stream happens every day at 10:30. So if you like this stream, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to push that like button. Make sure to subscribe for us. We do this every day. Now, it may not be the same face every day. Matter of fact, a little tease I'll give you is that we will have the lovely meteorologist Hunter Force tomorrow at 10:30, giving you a wrap up of the biggest weather of the day. Craig will be back very soon from his vacation. And so we'll have a mix of meteorologists throughout the rest of the week. But we do this every single day where we bring you the biggest weather from the nation and around the world. And you can find that on our 13 News Now Plus app. If you're watching us on YouTube, all you need to do is download the app. It's free on the App Store and on Google Play. We're always showing something, whether that's exclusive content or live newscasts, and we're always talking, especially for our friends here in Hampton Roads, we're talking local news and local weather all the time. And if you want to download the 13 News Now Plus app, you can also find it on Fire TV, Apple TV, and Roku today. Again, the app is free. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson. I hope you enjoy this stream. And meteorologist Hunter Force will join you tomorrow, same time, 10:30 a.m. for More with Moeller. Have a great day.